So yeah, like Chelsea mentioned, I'm a 2006 alum, which is crazy. Time flies. My husband and I met technically at Point Loma, but didn't start dating till after, but we actually live about a mile away from campus. We're so fortunate to be able to live here in the Point Loma area, and it is such a gift, and now we're raising kids and a family. So yeah, a little bit about me before I kind of get into designing. We're gonna make a bouquet using primarily all Trader Joe's ingredients, which Trader Joe's, or if you don't have a Trader Joe's nearby, if you have a local grocery store that sells flowers, I'm gonna teach you some tricks on how to transform it into, hopefully, fingers crossed, an awesome arrangement today. So anybody can do this. This is super simple, and I'm happy that Chelsea mentioned that they're filming this, because I'd love for you to be able to gather these same ingredients tomorrow or tonight and then go make your own and share with me. I love always people tag me on Instagram. I'm at Ashlyn Carter. I love seeing your guys' creations. It makes me so it just shows that anybody can do this. And one of my most popular, some of my most popular videos on YouTube, she mentioned that I do vlogging, are how to make florals. And it's really fun for me to share this because I'm self-taught. I taught myself, and I learned a lot of what I know through YouTube as well. So we are gonna get started today. As I go, please just like ask questions in the comment box, and Chelsea will read those off, and I'm happy to answer a lot of those with you. A little quick background. My background, I was an MOCM, so I was a managerial and organizational communications major at Point Loma, which is very broad, but it was perfect. I went into doing corporate event planning, and then I worked actually at Point Loma Nazarene University in the development office. I helped do donor events, and then while I was there, I started growing my own wedding planning design business. But what's really special about while I was working at Point Loma is my boss, Jeannie Cochran, was like, "You're gonna be doing events. Do you know how to do flowers?" And I was like, "Sure." And so it's actually during my job there that I said yes to something that I had no idea what I was doing, and just jumped in. And so that just gives, if that story gives you any inclination, it's all about anything creative and working with your hands. It's just about jumping in and just getting started. And as you're gonna see today, it's very, floral design is just, it's a very relaxing, very creative process, but also it's very forgiving. If you don't like something, you can just pull things out. So a little tidbit for you, just to not be nervous, to just jump in. So let me show you what I bought at Trader Joe's. I probably spent about, I don't know, under $20 on the flowers here. So let me show you what we're working with today. We have white spray roses. They're opening up rather large. Trader Joe's flowers are hit or miss. Sometimes I'm, pleasantly surprised. Sometimes you're gonna have to pull a few of the little bit of browning leaves, petals off. So, but that's okay. That's why they're inexpensive and easily accessible. We also have pink spray roses, and these are opening up really beautifully. There, I feel like a little bit better condition than the white ones. And we have, believe it or not, carnations. And I love working with these flowers because A, they're always readily available pretty much anywhere. All of these flowers are nothing unique, nothing seasonal. You can pretty much find them 95% of the year. So these carnations are, a lot of people still don't like carnations. I think that it brings you back to the 90s and they scare you a little. But I'm gonna hopefully change your mind today if you have a negative opinion of carnations and how they can make something really beautiful. Okay, the other thing I bought were these white kind of daisy flowers. These are a form of chamomile. A lot of traditional chamomile has the yellow center, where these are just a little bit fluffier. They have a little bit of a light green center. But this is a good filler flower. And then lastly, I picked up some of this eucalyptus, which what is cool about Trader Joe's is that they sell greenery now, which makes putting together an arrangement extra easy. Because what I'm gonna also share with you is one of my tricks is I go and I'll buy the flowers. So as you see here, I kind of go through with the same type of color palette or vibe complementing colors. So I've got the white rose, the pink rose, I've got the light green carnation, which I actually wanted a white or a cream, but they didn't have it. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna go with that. And then I went with the white flowers. You don't wanna get too many colors when you're looking for what things to group or pair together. Sometimes that works, but if you're just starting out, just stick with the basics. Go with 2, maybe 3, just complementing colors. The roses are kind of my statement flower. The carnations are inexpensive. They're more of a filler flower. So they're ones that they don't necessarily need to be front and center, but they look good kind of tucked in. They add a little bit of texture and dimension. And then the white ones over here are also a good filler flower. There's a lot of them. They're just a different shape, different size. It's good to have a little bit of variety. So if you don't have access to greenery in your yard like I do, you can buy greenery at Trader Joe's. You can snip some from your parents' house. You can find some growing wild off the side of the road. We have a lot of different variety in our backyard. So I also went ahead and chopped some of these leaves in our backyard. I'm not sure what they're called, but I'm just showing you that they are going to add it to our arrangement. So I've got my Trader Joe's flowers, and then I've got some unique greenery from my yard. These are 2 different varieties. This is like a shrub. This is actually ground cover, but it kind of has that dusty, light green, pretty, and then it grows these little stems of seeds. So I kind of am not sure if I'm going to use all of this, but I like to have all my ingredients ready to go. So, all right. Any questions on that? Let me know. I'm going to get started. Okay. When creating flowers, you can easily come home, create a handheld bouquet, and stick it in a vase like you see here. Okay, those look beautiful. But we're going to make something a little bit more special today. So I am going to be using a vessel that I've had on hand for a long time. This is a footed vase. I bought these in bulk when I was doing wedding planning and design. I have a ton of them, but you can find something like this online, at Michael's, at a craft store, whatever. I am also going to be using foam. So this is a big foam block. You can buy these on Amazon. They're really cheap. You can cut them while they're dry, and then you can fit them to your vessel. So this soaked in water for about 20 minutes, okay? It was submerged in water, fully underwater. I took it out, and this is a ton of water, and this is what I'm gonna put inside the vessel here to keep it, all of our flowers well hydrated. And what's really easy about using this ingredient is that it's very forgiving. You can stick things in and out, and it holds it really well. Whereas when you're having your flowers in a loose vase, sometimes they're a little bit floppier. So I've got that. Got some floral shears here. Another tool that a lot of people like to use when putting stuff in vases is a floral frog. This is cool too, but I'm using this for today. So those are kind of your options. All right, I also have this handy dandy little Lazy Susan so I can spin it around for you guys. Okay, I feel like I'm talking a million miles an hour. When I'm doing YouTube, I don't have to talk to anybody as much. I can pause and take breaks. So let's start to building. Whenever I begin my floral design and my arrangement, I start with my greenery, and that is your base. So you're gonna build this beautiful greenery base, and then you're gonna add your flowers in. And the reason that you do this is because you don't need as many flowers when you have a lot of greenery. If you start adding your flowers first, then tucking your greenery in, you're gonna hide them. And those are usually your typically more expensive product, right? Like this stuff is free. So I'm gonna start by taking this piece of shrub from my backyard, and I'm pulling off all the leaves that are below, because just like when you put leaves in water, it's gonna contaminate things. It causes extra bacteria. So you wanna strip, give it a fresh cut, strip all your leaves off, any greenery or floral piece that you're putting in your foam. And I'm just gonna start sticking it in. And it's gonna look very random at first. Trust me, you're gonna be doing this and you're gonna be thinking, I don't know if this is gonna come together, but hopefully it will. So I'm going around, I'm just kind of putting all of this exact same type of greenery throughout the base because I want to make sure that the oasis, the floral foam, gets hidden. So, stripping all the leaves. Okay, you guys see that okay? So this is where we're starting. Next, I'm going to add, I believe, some of this ground cover, which is that pretty light sagey color plant. This is growing wild everywhere around my yard. So I'm just taking it and I am gonna save a couple of these pieces to kind of use at the top. My floral arranging style I would describe as a little bit more whimsical and free. I don't like super tight, super formal pieces. I mean, I like them, but that's typically not what I go for when I'm designing. So this might be a little bit more wild for your liking, but that's the beauty, is when you design, you can make it however you like. You might want to bring it in a lot tighter. And I told the girls before you all hopped on, but my kids are outside eating Happy Meals in the garage with a movie. So fingers crossed they stay outside and behave themselves. I had to what's the word? Bribe them. Okay, so I kind of just stuck that in between all the other pieces. And see how quickly a little centerpiece, the base, is coming together. I always find that so amazing. So I'm gonna use a little bit of the eucalyptus. This stuff gets your hands super sticky and messy, but it is such a pretty, there's so many different types of eucalyptus, but this is such a pretty one. We are just sticking. The greenery requires a little bit less, I don't know. There's not quite as much rhyme or reason to what I'm doing. I'll explain more of the flowers once I start sticking those in. But I do like it spread out. I like different heights. I like it, you know, sticking out whenever you're making your centerpiece. So let's say I'm making this, let's say I'm having a barbecue tonight and I want to put it on the center of my table. I'm gonna make sure that this looks good from all angles. Whereas let's say you're making this for a friend's wedding and this is gonna be up against a wall. You can make this side a little bit more heavy, right? But because this is going in the center, or if it's going on my dining room table, I want it to look good from all angles. So I'm keeping that in mind while I'm creating. You do not want to use all of your greenery up front because you're going to want to save some for when you go back through and add to after the flowers. You might be like, oh, this needs a little bit more of this or that. So I'm trying to keep in mind about hiding that oasis. All right, next I'm going to add these things. Yeah?
I was going to say we have a question for you. We were from Iona, I think is how you pronounce it. Forgive me if I'm wrong. How packed are your arrangements? Is space okay between the plants, or would you say each flower or leaf is touching one another?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, so like how packed of flowers and leaves, I guess, would your arrangements be? Is space okay between, or would you say each flower is touching one another, or leaf?
Yeah, you'll see some are touching and overlapping, some are a little bit spaced. I think it depends on the bulk of the greenery that you're using. Again, though, your priority is to try to hide your oasis. So however much greenery that takes is kind of what you're gonna do. Also, once I start getting the flowers on here, because they have bigger heads, they're gonna start, especially the carnations, they're a good flower that you can push low and it will hide all of this stuff that you can see on the top. So as you can see, I'm focusing mainly on the sides because the top, we're gonna start adding flowers and that will be hidden a lot easier. So let's see here. I think I'm getting close to ready to add our flowers. I'm gonna add this one more little piece here. These are obviously not full, but they add such a cool, I don't know, they're just kind of more wild that I love them. So as you can see with these, I kind of focus on these on the sides, just to add some asymmetrical and a little bit of dimension here. Sometimes in the center, I will pull off little pieces of greenery, like this is just a baby one, and I'll just stick it straight in the middle. And again, it's just filling space. Not a lot of science to that. All right, last piece of greenery. I hope this is interesting to you guys. I hope you can see well. So that's kind of what it looks like. It could be totally fuller, but I wouldn't recommend it much more sparse than this. And again, if you like a more tucked in tight arrangement, then cut these way shorter and just bring them way in. This is just the look that I guess I'm going for today. There's no rhyme or reason about it. You just go with whatever you feel. I don't ever, like, it's like a piece of art. You never can completely recreate the exact same centerpiece. Usually when I build a centerpiece for a wedding, when I used to do floral design, the first one took the longest, right? Because you're kind of figuring it out, and then I would try to replicate it, but it would go a lot quicker. So next thing I'm using, going into the flowers, are these carnations. And if you missed it, carnations don't have to be your 80s or 90-year-old flowers. They can be beautiful. They have this kind of ruffly texture, and when they are kind of alone by themselves, people don't even realize that they're carnations. So I'm just gonna start sticking these in. And a little tip, greenery lasts a lot longer than flowers. So you can kind of pull your greenery in and out of your oasis if you're using floral foam. But if you are not, when you stick a flower into the foam, don't pull it back out unless you're gonna stick it in a new hole. Because if you pull it, let's say, oh, I don't like that here, there's a hole in the oasis, I'm gonna put it in a new hole because that will give it the best ability to soak up the water. So that's a little tip for you. If you keep pulling it in and out, it's not gonna get the absorption very well. So see how cool these look when you just kind of are sticking them in? You can, I'm kind of just sticking these in straight here. I wish I had my camera I could put above and show you, but I'm on a laptop, so it's a little different than when I do YouTube. But I am just kind of going through, putting them in the oasis at different heights, different levels.
We have a couple more questions as you're doing that, if this is a good time.
Of course.
So Ashley is saying, I sometimes feel guilty for not using everything I purchased for one arrangement. How should I know when I'm done without having a lot of leftovers?
Yeah. I usually have leftovers as well. Like, for example, yesterday I just did this little arrangement. So go and just get little glass arrangements and use your leftovers. Who doesn't love fresh flowers like everywhere throughout your house, right? So put some in the bathroom, or sometimes like do one big one and then do a couple small ones on the side. So there's I feel like you could, or give them to your neighbor, you know, bless your neighbor with a little bundle of flowers. When I did weddings on a big scale and I had a lot left over, I would always wrap them in paper and go give them to my older neighbors, and they loved it. They thought it was so sweet. So
it's a great idea. We have one other question. Is there a general rule of thumb for picking colors that go well together?
Yeah, kind of. I like to use gray colors. So I like things, you know, it's like putting together an outfit. Like, you kind of know naturally what looks good together. So I try to just stick with 2 or 3 main colors that complement each other. So I'm obviously not going to do this kind of limey green and red. I'm going to do softer colors that kind of pair well together. But sometimes at the grocery store, like, what you get is what you get. And so you kind of have to work with whatever. But I prefer a lot softer tones no coming in. So now I'm gonna pause on the carnations. Not move these out of the way so you guys get it. Okay, I'm gonna pause on the carnations here. And they're just randomly in here. I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, about 6 or 7 stems. You can't totally see the oasis anymore, a little bit, but not a ton. And I'm gonna go with my next filler flower, which is the white chamomile. So these are a little bit more floppy, fun. These just are a fun summertime flower. And as I mentioned earlier, everything I'm using, I always get Trader Joe's, except for maybe the chamomile. Carnations and spray roses are year-round. So that's what's fun about this exact centerpiece, is that it just lasts. Or it's, not lasts, but it's like a timeless, non-seasonal bouquet. So these are kind of floppy. So I kind of try to keep them grouped together. I hold them up here while I stick them well into the oasis. And they're just gonna go where they wanna go because they're a little bit wild like that, but that's the fun part about using more of a wildflower. Okay, come in. Of course, my kids have to go to the bathroom. Let's see. So these are, I forget how much those were. I feel like $3.99 for the huge, like I'm not gonna use all of these. So I'm gonna definitely repurpose these into some smaller arrangements later. But I'm just sticking these in. It's hard to do. Like so.
Another question for you that came in from Nicole. What are some tips and tricks for extending your bouquet life?
Sometimes I add, if you're using floral foam, sometimes I will add, I'll just kind of try to peel back the flowers and add a little bit of water by day 2 or 3. But the bummer is with this, if you're using like a fresh water, like a fresh vase with water and flowers, take your flowers out and try to give them a fresh trim and new water every day or 2, which is I don't always do that. But that is one way to maybe extend the life of your flowers, giving them obviously a fresh trim when you get home, keeping your water clean. So let's say this was my vase. Again, I'm not gonna want any leaves in the water. Keep this clean and bacteria free. One second.
Just as a heads up for everybody, if anybody has questions too on any lifestyle, you know, tips and tricks from Ashlyn, I know she'd love to answer those too. She does a lot of awesome video blogs about home and recipes and things like that. So we can do that a little bit more at the end too, but just wanted to let you know we're open to all questions. So
ask away. I am happy to answer anything. I'm just happy to get to do this with you guys. It is so, I always find this to be so therapeutic, and when people attempt to do them themselves, I feel like 9 times out of 10 will always say the same thing. Because as you see, it's just put on some music, a podcast, a Zoom thing, and you're good to go. So I'm gonna add a little bit more. I'm a bad multitasker, so doing this while teaching you guys is definitely a challenge for me, but I love it. I'm trying to think of tips for keeping flowers fresh. What do you guys think? How's it coming? I mean, I feel like we could stop here and be like, good to go. I think it looks darling. But we still have our main flowers, which are our roses, which is really fun. So as I'm adding flowers, I'm thinking about different things. I'm thinking about obviously hiding the oasis. I'm thinking about the visibility of each one. So the carnation down here in the center, you can't see very well, but I don't really mind because again, it's a filler flower. And I like the dimension of centerpieces where there's some lower, some higher, some sticking out, some a little bit more wild. And that's the beauty of doing this style of floral arranging, is that it's forgiving. So you can see I very rarely pulled things out and redid the flowers. So just making sure it looks good on all sides. These are tricky. They like to bend, the stems. They're not very sturdy. So I have to redo them. And see, like this little guy down here just falling. Let's just take that out because that doesn't look good. So there we go. Now we're gonna move on to our focal point flower. Your focal point flowers are usually your more expensive flowers. They're the ones that you're able to see more of. I love these white spray roses. They're ending up really beautifully. And what's really cool about spray roses is they have these pretty centers. So unlike a really tight rose, you can sometimes just pull a few of the stems off or the petals off the middle, and it exposes that really cute little, more wild rose looking feature. And you can do that with some of them. So for example, I'm just gonna pull the few out, and there you go. And that totally transforms the look of a Trader Joe's rose. This looks kind of like one that I'd be growing out in my garden, and it looks a little bit more, I don't know, fun. So cut at an angle, gives the stem the most ability to soak up water. These, I don't want to push them really deep down because I want to see these. I think they're really fun and they're pretty. So I'm going to start on the sides, and I'm just going to pull it down to where you can see it, kind of behind this guy. So I might go and shove this down a little bit more, and there's that. Now I'm going to do another white on the left side over here. So I'm looking for my best ones. You're always going to have a batch of roses where some aren't as beautiful as others. So use your best ingredients that you have. You can notice these ones are all a lot tighter. So in order to match the other side, I'm just going to pull out a little bit of the center to expose that cute little button yellow part. Roses are a lot more forgiving, so you can kind of gently open up the blooms a little bit, okay? Also, I'm not sure if I want 5 stems on here, so I'm just gonna take that one off. I might use it later, I might not. And we are gonna come over here, let's see. And we're gonna kind of match the other side. So I've got one here, one here. This is what it's looking like. I feel like this is a fun summer garden party centerpiece. How are we doing on time? 12:30, okay, speed it up here. You guys ask any questions you like. I'm happy to answer. Stop me if I can go back, I can answer whatever. Don't be shy, seriously.
We have a couple more that came through. Sarah asked, what are some of your favorite go-to fillers and flowers to work with?
I usually do like the Dusty Miller, or not Dusty Miller, that is a filler, but flowers. I do like little flowers like chamomile, other filler flowers, things like Queen's Anne lace. These are more specialty things that you can purchase at like a wholesale flower market. There are a lot other varieties, but something that's small, that's delicate, again, carnations, like, can you even tell these are carnations? Yeah. So now I'm gonna add the pink. Here's the pink. Some of them have the cute little inside as well. And I am just gonna tuck this in kind of the back quadrant, and it looks good on this side. Okay, let's do maybe a couple more pinks. Show you. So what's cool is that sometimes you can just stick them straight in there and they're kind of shooting off the edge. Another thing I'm very particular about when I do arrangements is that the way the edge of your vessel looks, you could do this in a bowl, in a regular vase, but I like it just not have this like straight edge. I like everything to be a little bit overflowing. So what's cool about these roses is that they like hide the edge of your vessel, along with the chamomile too.
We have somebody
Like
who,
this one. Yeah, go ahead.
sorry, I was just gonna say we have somebody who started their own wedding planning company on the side last year. Curious if you have any tips for a new wedding planner?
Awesome. So I started my own wedding planning company too, actually, right after I got married, and I just jumped right in. I didn't have a single client, a wedding, but my girlfriend and I started our own wedding planning company. And honestly, it's just about jumping in. It's doing a lot of what for free at first, maybe for a really small fee. It's gathering your portfolio. So working with brides that have awesome photographers and just say, hey, I'm willing to do this for $800 to be a day of. And then you can gather rights to their photography and you throw them up on a blog or a website or whatnot. And that's just a really great place to start. And then the more you build and the more experience you get, you got yourself a business. So just keep at it. Just keep doing a lot of things for low cost and your business will grow. So, okay. So I've got like a little random pink one down here. Got pinks here, pink back here. I think I'm gonna do one more pink on this side. No, maybe not. No. Yeah, I am. I'm gonna try to show you guys where I'm doing this. When I'm thinking about the colors everywhere, I just want it to look, so this one feels a little too close to the front ones to me, so I'm gonna move this back a little bit. Again, create a new hole in the oasis. And this is the part where I'm the most critiqueful. After I kind of feel like I'm getting close to being done, I'm like, I don't know if I love that there. Pull a lot of the flowers out and reposition them. I'm feeling like the middle needs a little something, so I'm going to do 2 roses. I'm just trimming it up. And I'm gonna keep it kind of high, like so. So this just added a lot. And I'm giving it a good look over. Okay, so down here, I notice I can see oasis. So I'm gonna try to hide that, maybe with a carnation. Let's see if that does the trick. So I'm just gonna stick this in real deep. And he's just gonna kind of be below. And that did the trick for right there. Okay, so this side feels like it needs a little bit of pink. Might just add a quick little pink number. There, that feels so much more balanced. We had the pink here is heavy pink with not really a lot of pink over here showing. So that feels a lot better. This spot feels open to me. So I have 2 options now. I can do more flowers, or I can start bringing in greenery, or I can push things up and down. This is totally perfect the way it is. I think another element that I forgot about that's kind of fun are these little pieces of the ground cover. this again just adds, I think, the more texture and the more unique pieces. This is, I literally is going wild everywhere. I'm just gonna add it to the arrangement and watch how it, let's do this side since it's a little more free flowing. Watch how it, oh, this guy's popping out here. Okay. I'm gonna twist it so it's kind of facing up. Maybe not. Okay, scratch that. Let's move it to this side because I want it kind of going a certain direction. No? Okay. I'm bent. This is the part that just, you gotta go with your eye and what you feel looks good. There, I like it. Okay, let's clear some of this out of the way so you guys aren't distracted by mess. You can see it a little better. Okay, here's another guy. I'm gonna move him on this side. Let's see if he works better over here. Ah, yes, see? He worked a lot better right there. And I've got one more. Let's put this one in the center, right behind here. Let's keep him kind of tall. I don't want him competing too much with this, but more of a complement. All right, I'm liking it. I'm liking it. Okay, one more little spot right here that feels like it needs something. Might do a carnation. Let's test it out. I've got plenty of those left over. I think we have plenty of roses. Oh geez, I just broke that one. And trust me, I'll go back through and play, and I won't waste all these flowers, I promise. All right, hole is right here. Okay, so this was the hole. It's now filled with a carnation. I have a lot of the white chamomile left. I'm gonna add a few more sprigs. It's hard to know when it's to stop. I have to just come to that place of like, okay, this looks good. I hope this is giving you guys that have never tried an arrangement like this the courage to just jump in and try. It is so fun. Like, you guys are gonna get hooked if you've never done this before. Okay, I think I'm done. I think I'm happy with, I'm just gonna push it. I'm happy with the result. What do you guys think? Thumbs up? You like it? Yeah? Good. Any other questions for me, you guys?
We do have a few more questions. Is it okay if I just kind of go through these? There's some great questions here.
Yeah, absolutely.
We had a question about any blogs or books that you've read to learn more about different types of flowers and greenery, especially when you first started. Any recommendations?
Yes, the internet was my best friend. I didn't necessarily have a specific book. I would see inspiration photos and then I would just Google until I could find, like, oh, what is that one leaf or that greenery that they used? And then I would bounce ideas off of the floral farm, my contact there, my sales guy that I was ordering from, and just say, what is that type of eucalyptus? And I would send them pictures. So I really leaned on him. You can always take pictures into a local floral company or wholesaler that you're ordering from, and they 9 times out of 10 will know exactly what you want and what to order. But again, just a lot of self-research online and just learning, watching YouTube videos. That's, I think, how you just continue to learn, and you get better every single time that you do it. You learn something else. It's a lot of trial and error. So don't be afraid to just jump in and figure it out. Flowers, for the most part, are very forgiving. Practice a lot on your own before you start spending other people's money. So go to Trader Joe's, go to San Diego, has the San Diego Wholesale Florist. They have a lot more options, a lot of fresher flowers that will last longer. Go there, spend 20, 30 bucks and just play around and just practice your technique, and you're gonna get better. Just like anything, the more that you practice and do, the better you get.
Awesome. Well, speaking of YouTube videos, where I have a question about how you got started vlogging. Did you have a lot of followers to begin with? What's kind of your story in starting that up?
Yeah, so my background was doing events, weddings. I love all things creative. I love cooking. I love baking. I love having people over to my home. But I found myself as a young mom at home with 3 kids, 3 and under, back-to-back babies, and I just felt like it was Groundhog Day every single day. I'm sure many of you can relate. It still kind of does. But Travis, my husband, suggested, why don't you just jump in and start a vlog, start a family. We started watching this random family from Texas on YouTube. So strange, so bizarre, but you get sucked in. YouTube is the weirdest thing. And I was like, I don't know about that. But I did. With his encouragement, I jumped in back in 2016. And I just started posting, and I didn't have any followers. I didn't know what I was doing. I used my cell phone to film everything. And really embarrassing when you go back and watch those beginning photos or videos. But you just start somewhere. And so I started, and I don't know, I feel like today I'm about to hit 50,000 subscribers. So slow and steady, you build, and it's about being consistent. And I started, instead of vlogging, which is more, come with us, let me show you my family, our life, it was more intentional videos. So I started almost replicating and doing things that I love, like showing people how to do flowers, or sharing a recipe, or giving people easy ideas on how to host and entertain people without it being overwhelming or stressful. And I just set up a camera, shared what I loved, and sure enough, I started gaining traction, and now I consider this a part-time job. So super fun, super blessed. It's really cool to be able to do something that I love while being at home with my family and on my own terms. So that's kind of how I got started, and not sure where we're going with this, but I think I'm still just getting started. So I've got big plans for next year.
That's awesome. A couple other questions coming through. Did you have a shape in mind when you began? Maybe, I think we're talking about the actual flower arrangement. Did you have a specific shape in mind when you began? And can you talk a little bit about the trends for shapes?
Yeah, again, this is, if you see any of my centerpieces, this is generally the style I go for. This is what I feel like I'm most comfortable with. It's my natural go-to. A little bit more like larger on the outside, almost like a heart shape. But no, that was the beautiful part about this, is I thought about practicing ahead of time, but I didn't want to waste all my good flowers. So I didn't know where I was going with it when I started. But I generally start building it out and a little bit wild, as it's just kind of my go-to shape. But a lot of times I'll study and I'll tag photos that I see on Pinterest or Instagram of florals that are incredible, and I'll be like, oh, I really want to learn how to do, maybe it's higher on this side and smaller on this side. And so I'll maybe have a photo of inspiration while I'm building and designing and practicing that way. So yeah.
Great answer. That's what kind of happens as you go. I love it.
Exactly.
This is a fun question. Where did you get the turntable? We really love the turntable.
Oh yeah, this is so cool. I actually got this at home, $29.99. This is really fun. I actually don't usually use it for floral design, although I should. This is huge, and I love to put like cheese and crackers or like a dessert board on here when I'm hosting, and it's just like a fun, Home Goods is like where it's at for cheap entertaining pieces.
Awesome. It's super cool. It's perfect. We can see everything really well because of the turntable. So
Good. That's perfect. I need to start using this more.
Yeah, absolutely. We wanted to know the name of the little flowers that you put in last. I think we might be talking the ones that are coming out a little bit farther.
Oh, this?
I think
Was it this one?
so. If
Okay,
somebody
if it
wants to
was,
confirm, yeah.
if it's this one, I'll have look. It is ground cover that you purchase like at Home Depot or your nursery, and it just sprouts these random things. So I did not buy this. I just clipped it. I'm sorry. But if you want something similar to this that you can purchase, look for something called Queen Anne's lace, and it has similar vibe to that kind of long sprig with like a top, and that's typically year round. You can get that. So unfortunately, just from my yard.
Yeah.
And these little guys, referring to these were again chamomile, like a white variety of chamomile.
Great. And then how long do you think that this arrangement will last? What's kind of the average?
So that's the downside with trays, is a lot of times their flowers aren't processed as like, you know, as well preserved as if you were going to go into this huge building that has like these built-in fridges that keep things really fresh. So with Trader Joe's flowers, it's hit or miss. This could last me 5 days through the weekend, or like tomorrow some of the things might start looking really sad. It's hard to know with a variety. So if you were going to build this, I would plan on 2 to 3 days max, but it might surprise you and do, you know, 5. So typically though, if I was designing for an event or for when I used to do weddings, I would build all of my centerpieces for a wedding the day before. For, let's say, a dinner party, I would have tried to do this in the morning if this was for tonight, because it's just going to be the best. So try to get your flowers day of or the day before. Like I bought all these yesterday, clipped them, stuck them in water, and they're doing great. But Trader Joe's, you never know.
Awesome. Well, we just have one more last question for you before we're done for the day. And I saved this one for last, just as we kind of bookend it with some Point Loma stories. We had a question about your favorite memory, or any kind of favorite memory you have from your Point Loma days, and maybe how that influenced you into getting into vlogging or anything like that.
Yeah, I never foresaw this being part of my future while I was at Point Loma, but I mean, so many memories. Just asking that question makes me want to cry, because it is near and dear to our hearts, and my husband and I still are involved. I lead a Bible study for Point Loma Nazarene girls. He's involved as a coach and mentor for the surf team. So those memories are continuing. We take our kids to ride on campus, but just the friendships that I made, the dorm living, I mean, still in touch with just so many good people. And then of course it led me to meeting my husband, which led to this life. So I mean, so thankful for Point Loma and the opportunities it gives us and the quality people that you get to meet there. Like, you go to school, you get an incredible education, but there is no substitute for the community and the ability to interact with like cream of the crop. So love Point Loma with all my heart.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. I know I learned a lot. I don't know about all of you, but I want to go to Trader Joe's after this and try it out. So thank you so much. What is the name of what's the name of your YouTube channel, so that if people haven't checked it out yet, they can go check you out on YouTube?
Yeah, go just type in Ashlyn Carter. You'll find me on YouTube there, and I'm Ashlyn Carter on Instagram, and that's where I love to be able to connect with you guys. So if you do something, share it and tag me, and I love seeing what you guys make. It's so fun. It's so fulfilling. So easy to find me.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time. I hope everybody learned a lot. This was really, really fun, and a great way to kind of spend our lunchtime together this week. We hope that you all will continue to join us through the rest of our Loma Talk series. We have an exciting Loma Talk coming up next week for Point Loma as well. We're going to hear from an alum, Callie Stevens, who has worked with Nazarene Compassionate Ministries, and of course her work has changed a lot during the COVID-19 era, so that we're excited to hear from her. you can check it all out on our Point Loma page. We're so thankful for Ashlyn. This will be up on our website. I'm hopefully by the end of the day if I can get on it quickly. If not, definitely by the end of the week. So if you missed some of it, you can check it out on the Point Loma alumni page. So thank you all again, and we look forward to seeing you later.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Ashlyn.
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Oh.
All right.
That was so fun.
So fun. Thanks so much. I'm going to end this now. I'll make sure to reach out to you in a little bit.
Okay. Thanks, Chelsea.
Bye.
Bye.